Alright. Why am I so big? There we go, that's better. Sorry for the darkness. My eyes are killing me, so this is how we're doing it. We're doing this cherry style. Suppose I should turn my virtual camera on so I'm visible on his end. Alright, here we go. Hey, give me 1 sec. Oh, are you alright?
Yeah, you got me coughing. 1 sec.
No worries. Maybe you had a rougher time than I thought. Oh, I have that same exercise bike. Cool. Interesting. I think it's the same one. So confused. I'll be right back.
Oh. I don't know if chat's here. Howdy, chat. Chatting it up, chatteroonie, chat moment, epic chat time. VTuber SDL. I hope SDL had as much fun on their end. No, zero fun. Not a single bit of fun, Taisley. President Sunday must have significantly more latency on their stream.
Oh, sorry, what's that?
I was talking to your chat.
Oh, I see.
Big mistake.
Well, my chat's actually pretty cool, as far as chats go.
Small mistake.
Small mistake. So how'd it go?
I mean, honest to God, I think the biggest problem is not people's bad views. I think panels are just not good for discussion. I every time I want to be proven wrong. I want to get in there and debate, and then there's 8 people and there's no time to speak.
Well, you know what? I had a really good panel recently, and Tom Fuller was hosting it. And I think really what it comes down to is just not filling it with attention-desperate losers like Fabian Liberty. And I have no idea what the hell Smith and that other person were doing there. That was so confusing. None of these people talk about any of this stuff as a part of their content. I don't know. It was weird.
I mean,
I legitimately, by the way, only ducked because I was given cash for it, and if I don't leave, they won't do it again.
I saw that appeared actually.
Yes.
Well, so okay. Let's have a meta moment.
All right.
The panel that you thought went well with
Yes.
tomfoolery. How many people? Give me the number of participants.
4.
Yeah, that's right. That's why
Yeah.
it was a good panel. You
Yeah.
can't anything more than 5 is doomed to fail, and anything more than 3 is likely to fail. I think anything more than moderated debate.
I think you could manage 6 or 8 if you have curated the membership, and if you have really active moderation, and so active, it is a rarity when somebody talks out of turn.
My take is that any time where you'd have more than 5 people involved, you should just split it. I am convinced now.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Well, I mean, that's something. She was doing it in tiers, anyways, right? So you'd show up, you'd talk for an hour or so, and then somebody else would come on. Why not have a smaller panel where it's more sectioned off, and you've curated and you can hype up the later sections too. It's in this section we're gonna have loaner box and counterpoints.
You need to have a victor's bracket and a loser's bracket.
Yeah.
So that people can rise up to the top.
There you go. Yeah, it's like a keep or kick thing. It'll still be a shit show, but at the very least people can be heard. So that was legitimately awful. I was just watching that, just kind of. I didn't know what to do for my entire time there, because it seemed like responding to fan fiction. I don't know. Where did it go after I left? I haven't checked yet.
I mean, part of the problem is with panels, it doesn't really go anywhere. It goes everywhere all at once.
Yeah.
But I guess the place that it ended, that's the freshness of my mind, is food for thought wanted to raise the question of whether anti-Semitism on the left is a problem. And I thought it would have been an interesting discussion in a small panel, but one of my frustrations is that introducing it that way is explicitly just talking about, like, it's just opening the door to say, wow, some people on the left have bad takes about Hamas. That's the conversation. Instead of opening it up to like a broader view that actually it's not just people who have bad takes on Hamas, but look at like all of the truly horrific things that Israeli high officials have said about civilians. Fucking the President Isaac Herzog saying that that Israel's at war with an entire nation.
Yeah.
That people should have risen up against Hamas. Like, come on, man.
Well, I wonder if like one area that I thought would have been interesting to interrogate along those lines. I feel conned because I spent like a long time prepping for this thing, and it was just dead on arrival, which I should have expected because I'm naive. But what would have been a really interesting conversation is like the way in which sort of anti-colonial language has been kind of purposed in the favor of the Zionist project. And you can do a lot there, and leftists sort of play into that as well very frequently. Here, I'm going to turn the light on because I look freakish in this darkness. Give me a sec.
President Eclipse. Both sides need Christ? I agree.
I just realized with the color of my shirt, I have like... I look like Oogie Boogie from The Nightmare Before Christmas. It's just not doing it for me. Yeah, no, it's just bad. Bad. Were they mad after I left?
Oh, yeah, very, very bad, actually.
Really? What'd they say? Who was mad?
Connor was the maddest. And actually, I think when Connor left...
I didn't say anything to him. He just flipped.
Well, okay. I will not interject myself into the drama between you and Connor. You can have the fight out, but he was mad. He thought I was haughty, and that you placed yourself above the other members of the panel, which, you know, for a lot of panels, fairly low bar, but that was the
okay.
what emerged.
Okay, I'm sorry, Connor, that you felt diminished somehow.
Okay, I'm reading your chat. I do gotta say, A Multitude of Mangoes said the panel did seem immune to preparation, and I would totally agree with that. It's so frustrating to like I went in on the intro and I tried to be like, here's all these stats, and there's never a point where you can like get back to them because it always has to stay in stuff like, why don't some members of the left condemn Hamas? It's always living like anecdote baby brain world.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, I had this whole thing written out. Like, I even showed you it in advance, and when we got there, and I was listening, I was like, oh no, I know what this is going to be. No, fuck it. We're not. This is not a thinking panel. This is a... Yeah, no.
The mere unnerving presence of Sunday.
I mean, literally, though. It was so weird, and I don't think I'm on bad terms with the moderator. But, like, you'd have, like, a back and forth between Lonerbox and Fabian and Lonerbox and Smith and whatever. It would take, like, 5, 10, 15 minutes. And then I'll speak for one. It's like, hang on, wait! Lauren hasn't spoken yet. So I did. Yeah.
I mean, so I'm of the view that, I mean, good panels don't need moderation. So, not entirely her fault. Their fault? I don't know. What theirs is.
I think, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think that's something. One of the most frustrating things about being a moderator on stuff like that, when I do stuff like that, or like you're trying to host like a community event or whatever, it feels really bad not to get everyone to speak because then a few people dominate it.
Do you do that? I've only ever seen you on panels. I didn't know you'd held them.
Well, just for work or like other political work that's not on the stream sphere.
Okay. By the way, what do you do, if you don't mind me asking?
Currently, I do nothing. I'm unemployed, and I'm going to go get a master's degree. So,
Well, that's
a
not
lot of free time.
unemployed.
Let's go back to streaming.
That's not unemployed. That's like anti-employed. So you're
Thank you. I appreciate that.
you're paying to work there. No, you have my sympathies. Are you in what are you in, like economics, international relations? What are you doing?
Master's in econ. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah,
Um,
I can see that. You'd be good at that.
Thank you. Um,
That was my first degree
Right.
choice, and then I switched out into political science.
Big mistake. I mean, honestly, political science might be better just because a lot of econ is so dogmatic. Um, it's still very frustrating to me.
Yeah.
The way economics is taught is like, here is how the economy works, as opposed to like, in most sociology courses, you get introduced to like, here's a concept, here's a relationship between two things, and here's 6 theories for the relationship between them.
Yeah, I can see that. I will say that political science is equally dogmatic in that way.
Really?
Easily. For God's sake, there's a if you read Marx, for example, way ahead of his time, where everyone else is just behind, makes more or less that exact critique of economics and political science both simultaneously in the critique of political economy. But like fundamentally, like almost all modern American political science, which is really what we're talking about when we say political science, because political science as such isn't really done anymore. There's a lot of people who are sort of into Aristotle and whatnot. If you want that to count, I guess power to you. But like 90% of it at this point is just either history or sociology that's wheedled its way into political science departments, and good if they did because they're more rigorous, or just international relations gunk. And it's just there's just not a lot there. It all falls back on sort of like it all falls back on cliches. It's incredibly unnuanced, and whatever I benefited from political science ultimately was because I had professors and acquaintances who were also in other places and they could do stuff with it. Like, I mean, by all means, like I think it's an interesting area of study, but I think the way it's sort of compartmentalized right now is kind of disastrous from like an intellectual point of view.
I'd never heard any complaints about orthodoxy in political science.
That's because the orthodoxy is so strong.
Fair enough, I guess.
Yeah, but yeah. I'm trying to think of a good example. You know what the problem is talking to you? You're
love to hear it.
You're too polite. So if I start talking, you will actually just stop, and then I don't know what to do because people on here don't act like human beings. So it's like, oh. Okay.
Well, I can just keep talking if you'd like. I can go for quite some time.
That's the spirit. Do it.
No, I guess I don't know whether you want to pivot back to the panel. If you want it, like, it's hard to do much of a postmortem because there's not much meat.
I just called it a postmortem to justify the conversation. If there's not a lot there, there's not a lot there, and frankly, like, I don't know. I was listening to that, and it's just, if there's no grounding in fact whatsoever, and the only way to respond to what they're saying is just to have an encyclopedic knowledge of the historical like changes that took place in order to just re-narrativize as they go, which Lonerbox was thankfully more or less able to do, then like that's definitely beyond my capabilities. There's not a whole lot to talk about. It's just like, oh, well, for a couple of hours we sat down with some people who were making shit up, and there was one person there who knew what the actual thing was, so we could just correct them. And that's literally all that happened. And if it carried on the way that it was going when I left, then that is literally all that happened.
I have a friend who was watching the whole panel. They are entering their wine mom era, so they got drunk beforehand, and they've been DMing me incessantly as I got on the stream to ask if they sent the most recent DM, SDL. If he lets me on to talk about the panel, I will give him pushback if he wants. So if you want a postmortem, I've got a friend who was paying way too much attention to the panel the whole time.
Well, if they want to join, be my guest.
Huh? They also want to talk about DSA, but I don't know whether that's actually going to be any good.
Well, I mean, if
No.
I can learn, I'm not opposed to listening to you two talk either. I'd be happy to sit in. As far as I'm concerned, it's you guys doing my work for me, so that's fine. Hello.
Hello, Roxy.
Hello,
What
SG. Hello, Mr. Sunday.
Hi, how you doing?
miss?
My friends call me
Penny
Mr.
is
President.
fucking insane. What the fuck? What were those delusional fucking people all talking about? What the hell?
Hey, hey, don't say that about Smith. He's an innocent soul. He's an
I
artist.
was I was sort of surprised to see that Fabian Liberty was like very anti-JQ, but very like Muslims are innately violent. I would have thought you would have get one or the other, but it was a
No,
real.
I saw that he was like, oh yeah, you know, when like you have like more than like 30% Muslim people in a country, they just inherently become violent. I was like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Well, I mean that's pretty typical of a lot of conservative sort of middle class, lower class Christian families that have delusions of like that. That's sort of where I came from in my background because we were like a pretty conservative religious family where I came from when growing up, and we did not have like there was no like Jewish conspiracy mongering whatsoever, but like we watched a lot of Fox News and we got wrapped up into that, and so you had like this really negative impression of Muslims for a very long time. So that's actually a like it seems weird, but that's actually a situation I'm kind of familiar with. That doesn't surprise me in the least.
I guess I haven't thought about like old school like neoconservative like Islamophobia in a hot minute. It was just like it was so bizarre.
Yeah, it's a
to
blast
hear.
from the past. Yeah.
It's a retro racism.
Yeah.
It is.
It,
Well, so I was surprised to hear it from an ANCAP because I'm so used to of ANCAPs either being just fascists or so of course they believe in the JQ or they're like hyper progressive on everything, even things maybe a little bit too much, like on how much certain people can consent. Like it's one of the two.
What was so weird about him being an ANCAP? He was like, so, he kept being like, well, you know, if we can't like engage militarily the way we have been before, and it's not working, then we need to commit war crimes. But it's like, what the fuck are you talking about? You're a fucking anarchist. Why are you saying that like the state needs to commit war crimes? It was the most bizarre thing for an anarchist to say. What the fucking hell?
well, it's because and caps aren't exactly anarchists, so like
It's not really anarchists, yeah.
yeah. Like they're
insane proto-fascist.
I actually totally believe in that. The only sane like proper right wing economic libertarians I've ever run into, they're never ANCAPs. They're always just libertarians, and they're hyper progressive on everything else. They're the only ones that are actually sane.
Well, I think the common thread is what ANCAPs presume that typical anarchists don't is the essentiality of the state is kind of like the bedrock of human society. And so as soon as you can refer literally any type of violence to some kind of security concern, it's easy. There's not a contradiction there. But that's why they're not really anarchists. They're just really gay fascists.
The best kind, right, Sunday?
Well, I mean, they would be if they were gay in the proper sense, yeah. But they're no Golden Dawn.
All right, I don't get this reference, so I'm bringing it up to you. Someone in chat says, I haven't seen SDL stream much, but he reminds me of a quokka in human form. A what? Is that a Roxy thing? Am I...
What? I don't have things. I'm not a personality.
I don't know what that is. Hang on, I'm gonna Google that. It's a slur, isn't it? No, it's not. It's... You know what?
Some kind of rodent?
You know what? You know what? They're right, but it's not an insult. I see it. You know what it is? No, it's
They're a
not.
marsupial.
It's not that. You know what it is? You have those deep, soulful eyes.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Is this the animal? So in Australia, they don't have the Easter bunny because bunnies are super invasive there and they fucking hate rabbits. So they have like an Easter something else. Is it an Easter quokka that they have?
I have no fucking idea.
It might
Maybe.
be this.
The thing from Mist. No, the thing from Mist is called a squee. There's a squirrel thing in Mist 3. I've got a little pewter model of it. So, Roxy, first of all, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you as well. You can block on Twitter, by the way, but it's very nice to meet you.
I have you blocked on Twitter?
You do, yes.
Well, you must have been in the wrong. Clearly, hang on, let me find you here.
That's exactly what I said.
What do you call it on Twitter?
STRAOXVIA, like Staravia the Pokemon, but Roxier.
Oh my god, though.
That doesn't help me at all. Okay, I'm just gonna go look
That
for my...
was just post the link, Roxy.
I'm trying to type this in. Just like, ugh.
I have a rehearsed soundbite for that. I'm not
Okay,
gonna
why
not
did
use that
we
rehearsed
beef? What did you do?
Oh, it was the like the 8-year-old like Brianna Wu thing, and then I made a quote tweet like, "Why are we doing this?" And then like you responded, and then you responded after that, "I don't have time for this," and then you blocked me.
Oh, did I tell you to fuck off or something?
I think so, yeah.
Okay.
I don't know.
why-
Completely
I
justified.
I didn't mean any ill will.
Look,
I thought it was a really funny interaction.
Look, I'm not the same when I'm hungry, okay?
I've been trying to block 0 people. So I used to have maybe like 1,000 people blocked. But I went through and I got down to like 200 people on the block list. And I can't unblock any more people because when you go to like Twitter and you try and look at all the blocked people, it doesn't work for me anymore. So occasionally I'll just run into someone in the wild that I have blocked, but I can't see them. It's so frustrating. I want to have no one blocked. I used to do that for years. It's like the true free speech absolutist position, okay? I am radically pro free speech.
Well, you know what the problem is? If you block somebody, then they post that you blocked them, and then you just made more of a big deal of it. You have to mute them.
Oh yeah, that's
Muting is so much better.
Strategically muting is the ideal. Like, you block to either like make a statement or because like they're like a 2-follower Andy who does not matter.
Okay, I need your name again.
STA. Oh, I posted the link in chat.
I'm just looking through my block list. It's very long.
Oh, it's if you want to control F, it's STAROXVIA. A long time ago, I was on a panel with Stardust, and at the time, people kept shortening my name to Star, so I was very confused anytime someone would say Star.
So ST.
When are you gonna get back to streaming? You're always getting on my ass.
I'm currently technically homeless.
Are you actually? Are you doing all right?
Yeah, I'm just couch surfing with a friend, so he has like I don't think President Sunday cares about my personal life, but I was supposed to get a lease with a friend, but then he backed out at the last second because he turned down a job offer. I'm couch surfing with him until he gets the job and we can move in together.
There we go.
Just-
Found you.
Demon Mama is posting in chat. Just apologize, Lamau, for what?
Just apologize. I have no idea. Demon Mama, what are you responding to?
That could apply to any of us and anything we said.
Oh no! She's talking to me. She's saying just apologize for being a dick and blocking you. I'm sorry, Roxy.
I will formally apologize for being
Oh
stupid
my
on
God.
Twitter.
You weren't being stupid on Twitter.
This is beta shit, okay? No apology necessary. Just don't ever have grudges and don't be friends with people who have grudges. It's that simple.
I can be beta on Demon Mama. Demon Mama's an alpha in her space. So apparently you have thoughts on the awful panel that I left wisely for money.
Oh God, it was so fucking bad. I thought it was like at one point they accused SDL of like running.
Hold on,
like,
bring me on.
like,
Okay, Demon Mama's also drunk apparently, so yeah.
I can get her, or you can.
Dude.
Whoever's
But yes, like they were saying that
There
like
you go.
SDL was running defense for like the Connecticut DSA statement or whatever, which is really funny because I've been talking with SDL for like a week about how terrible the other DSA chapters are, how a select number of DSA chapters are being terrible, and I was getting him to retweet the statements that I've been drafting with my chapter. Because we're very and then this was like immediately before this was immediately after like a DSA meeting that we had where we were talking about like how do we fucking fix the fact that like some DSA chapters are being super unruly. It was so hilarious that they were just like, you're running defense for these pro Hamas DSA accounts. Like, what the fuck are they even talking about?
It's true. I am Hamas's strongest soldier.
Hamas's strongest soldier in the DSA.
Mm-hmm.
I can tell by the exercise bike in the background.
That's right. I'm getting ready to. They're running out of the electrified hang glider, so this is a manual pump one.
By the way, did they ever?
Jesus
Hello,
Christ.
can you hear me?
Hey, how you doing?
Am I audible?
You are
Yeah.
audible indeed.
That's good.
Which is also today's
Audible.
sponsor. No.
You wish you
I
could get an
do.
Audible sponsorship.
I
That's some
do.
fucking big ass money.
I do.
Oh.
Although I'm not in Twitch
Okay.
specifically, so I don't have to work for Amazon. So.
First of all, hello. Roxy, good to speak with you. SDL, wonderful to speak with you. President Sunday, wonderful to speak with you as
Okay.
well.
Okay. Good.
I listened to that panel, and
Did you? Oh no.
I regret. I'm not even kidding you. It's like, it was making me so angry that like I actually seriously regret watching it.
Okay.
Like I was clenching my teeth to the point that like I feel like I may have done
I
damage to
will.
my teeth.
I will unironically admit that I think going on that was irresponsible. I think that was stupid of me.
I don't know. I
It does-
feel like I don't know. I don't know where your brain was at. I don't know anything about those people.
Me
But,
neither.
Let me just say, whew. That was a painful one. Oh man, there's just so many things I could say. It opened up in such a stupid way with the statement, and then somebody just freaking out at the opening statement. I think of Smeth. Smeth was like, there's a holy war, and I think people should be able to escape it. And the guy was, that's fucking stupid! That's fucking stupid! What are you fucking talking about? This is nothing! And I was just like, what the fuck is going on here?
In fact, I wrote a song about it.
Oh yeah, well I was like, I wanted to hear the song.
Me
honestly.
too.
I wanted to hear
That would have
wanted-
that would have made it worthwhile. That would have.
I wanted
single
to just,
heart.
yeah, just break out like Imagine, John Lennon's Imagine.
You know,
That'd be
that's going to be a
incredible.
thing that you're going to be able to do. AI will get fast enough. You can just like feed it in a debate and have it write a song for you on the fly. Oh my god, I think this is the most legitimate use of AI I've ever thought of. This is so based.
That's pretty
This
good.
is further reason to burn all AI to the ground. Get rid of computers at this point.
Oh my God.
It's gone too far.
All right, Demon Mama, what was the worst moment, if you have one?
Worst moment.
Well, the one where I left, clearly, or the immediately following that.
Well, I mean, honestly, that was the best moment because I literally sighed, like openly sighed a sigh of relief because see, I've been playing this game called Lords of Fallen. I won't get into it, Lords of the Fallen, but it's a Souls-like, and I've been kind of into it. But you know, when you have a podcast on in the background and you're in the middle of like a Souls-like game where you're like, I can't really stop fighting right now.
Yeah.
So once the panel started,
You can't turn it
I'm
off.
like right outside of a boss room, and I'm like, I can't really turn this off. And so when you left, it was literally, I was like, oh, thank God. Like I literally was like, oh my God, anything. But worst moment. I mean, I did find Connor Points' weird freak out to be like kind of funny and pathetic. Especially because it's like, how dare you think you're above us, the fucking panel streamer on an 8-person panel at fucking 9 p.m. on a Sunday. How dare you think you're better than us?
Hey, that's me.
Like I was just like,
I thought
bro,
it was really funny. I don't know what his like issue was, but I thought it was just really, it was like a really funny change of pace.
I was trying.
it was just like,
I was trying
man,
for the
I don't
sake
know.
of showmanship. I was trying to think of something clever to respond with, and I just had nothing. I was just like,
okay.
huh.
Yeah, it was an odd freak
Sleepy
out.
Sunday over here, getting roasted by the Connor man.
Oh God, I'm so tired.
I mean, I feel like I would have found myself in an incredibly similar position given the way that things were like, and I'll say this with like, just imagine me doing like eight hands worth of quotation marks, the moderation, quote unquote,
Oh, go
which
easy,
was
go easy on
very, very weird.
Food shops. She's nice.
I don't know who
Any-
Food Shops is. I just
Nobody
found
does.
it
She's
very
completely
strange.
random.
Okay, how was she able to get so many semi-large people onto an 8-person panel?
Well, it's like, well, how does
Panel Riz?
Going to FF,
No,
yeah.
no. How does Wick get people onto a panel? I mean, there's not a lot of panel shows because it's not profitable. It's exhausting to manage, and she's just been grinding away. It's the same deal.
Yeah, I don't know anything about it, and I wasn't trying to make an impugnment of
Yeah.
of Food Shop's general character, but the moderation decision of sort of like, I don't know, front loading that I'll kick you off whenever I feel like it. I might throw you out at random. By the way, we're gonna talk about the current ongoing
genocide
genocide. If I get bored, I might throw you out. I might pull random people in. Anyway,
Russian pit model.
Well, this is what this.
Yeah.
Here's the thing, and
then to
yeah.
interrupt you, like,
Sorry.
like, no, just like the thing where it was like
We do
two
need to
people
look.
talking for like almost an hour.
I like how
and
you
then you were
interrupted me
like-
to say that. Sorry, Zona, continue.
Yeah, I'm gonna.
Of course.
I know you will.
I'm
used to it, it's fine.
Yeah, I don't know. I just thought that was funny. But I mean, it's a different thing. Me, I interrupt anybody I want to whenever I want because I'm an asshole. I'm not a moderator.
And I
though.
love you
You
for
see
it
me
because it's
going around
easy.
moderating it?
See, I hate talking to SDL because I feel bad when I interrupt him because he actually gives you space to talk.
Oh my god.
Never feel bad about anything.
You're too
ever.
nice. You need to.
Oh, Demon Mama's embracing like nihilism. What's happening
No,
here?
I'm just kidding. I feel bad right now because I spent time of my life listening to that. I mean, honestly though,
I'm sorry.
like all jokes aside, I was just like, I was just done. I felt like you SDL and Loner Box were like giving it your all against like what I can only describe as like sort of like the interpretive jazz of politics.
Oh, that's
Yeah, I get it. I get it.
It was
Oh,
just
God, I
like
pulled out my
I don't
headphones
know.
again.
That's actually the
I
best.
just-
That's actually the best phrase I've heard this year so far. That's
Wow.
that's beautiful. Thank you for that.
Yeah, it was kind of just a freestyle, and I was just like, what the fuck? And then there was of course Connor who I mean Connor of course like I couldn't see his camera. I didn't even know if his camera was on, but the entire time he was talking, like I said, I was listening on my phone playing a video game, so I just kind of imagined the psycho Wojak. You know, as he was just like, yeah, and then they're gonna glass Gaza because they gotta get their revenge, and it's gonna be, you know, you gotta let them have their revenge and everything. With one hand on the keyboard.
I did take I will say in Connor's defense, I think that rant was in particular that it was that Israel's military was doing the things that he felt, and then it was like he was glad he didn't have the ability to do that, something like that. But then I think Loner and I or someone stepped in. Loner stepped in something to the effect of like, I do not want emotional morons running the state of Israel in their response to a terrorist attack.
Yeah.
I don't know.
There's a lot like. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, did any of you catch for Fabian like Liberty? He was like, even if they are using white phosphorus, fine, because they're probably using it to like illuminate their precision missiles.
Honestly,
So it's silly to say-
I think if he slipped in, why don't we just nuke them all? I think it would have just passed through as white noise.
It got worse. He said it doesn't matter if we burn them with white phosphorus because they're about to be blown up by a missile anyway. So it doesn't even.
Oh, okay. So he just said that. All right.
Hey,
Well,
listen. Listen. It's morally consistent for someone like him because white phosphorus is a completely legal industrial chemical that Israel clearly paid and bought for, and that's fine. And they own the people of Palestine, and therefore, if they want to do some, radical, creative, cosmetic surgery with the chemicals they bought on the people they own, what's the problem, really? I mean, ANCAPs, am I right?
I thought it was
I
so
agree completely.
like it felt like really like deranged that he kept calling it like a Willie P, like it's some cute name or whatever. Like it's like
Is that like a slang name, or is he just saying that because?
contextually it seemed like it.
I've never heard that before, and it's weird to introduce that kind of language into a panel where it's not like.
That's fair,
established
Sunday.
like
But
that.
how often are you talking about white phosphorus? What job do you work again? Quantico or Langley?
I actually work at a phosphorus factory, SDL. Boy, we're just full of
But-
assumptions tonight.
Damn. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what else to say except for I just wanted to come on and say hello to all of you and also
Howdy.
express my extreme displeasure with that.
Oh, hi.
With that panel. There's so much stuff that like could be interesting. That could be interesting to talk about.
Well, I was gonna say earlier, like this is what frustrates me. Like, I don't have it in for food shops at all. For whatever reason, she felt the need to publish this as content. But I was talking to her the other night, and it's like, you want to have these chaotic, fun panels where it's just these personalities just clashing and just being bombastic and whatever. And that's where your passion is. You like that. That's the thing you want to do. Maybe don't make it about things that are simultaneously historically tedious to do well and also actively ongoing genocides. Like there's stuff to talk about.
That's something that has always, confused me a little bit. I mean, obviously, I think there's a place for political panels, but there's certain topics that I feel like go above the appropriateness of like a free for all debate panel.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I really feel like mass casualty events are like, one of those. And I don't know. And also just from a pure business perspective, it's just like, that if you had a panel that was like I don't know, Digimon versus Pokemon fuckability, like high detail edition, where you have like 9 different people, 4 of them are Pokemon fuckers and 4 of them are Digimon fuckers, and they're arguing about the vaginal circumference of their 3D model that was rendered on Fur Affinity in Blender. Like, I feel like that would get a lot more clicks and also be more fun for this like format of panel. So
Well,
I don't
I mean-
really understand like the motivation to choose.
Well, just because you suggested
Topics
that,
like this.
we have to do this now.
I will
Yeah,
say
I
that
mean-
Pokemon designs are generally a lot more rounder and cuddlier, so I imagine it'd be a lot softer.
But see, that's a matter of preference, because some people really like sticking their dick right in those like robotic shit. You know what I
Like
mean?
with the
People are like,
razor wire?
ooh, Optimus Prime and shit. They're like, give me that tailpipe, bam.
I've made a terrible
See, President
mistake.
Sunday, the face you're making right now just proves you don't have the chutzpah to put together a panel of the type the caliber I'm discussing.
Is that a challenge?
That is a challenge.
Very well.
And make the Duck Nana the moderator.
Where did Aiden go? Like, we need to see where he stands on the Digimon versus Pokemon fuckability
Exactly.
debates.
You just dox him?
Yep.
Or is his name no?
Everyone knows his name is Aiden.
I didn't know his name was Aiden.
Yeah, everyone knows that.
Oh.
Well, that's just because you're out of the loop.
Apparently.
Ciel's just my bestie, so I forget that not everyone is as close with him as I am.
Okay, another thing I wanted to say, I really liked your theory segment tonight, President.
Oh, that was actually so fun.
It was super
Legitimately.
interesting, right?
Yeah. I was.
Der Judenstadt,
I think it's Der Judenstadt.
yeah, is a fascinating text. I was glad you're reading it, because I was just that thing that I sent you.
Yeah, I'm gonna look at that tonight. My eyes were
you
killing
should,
me
you should.
afterwards, but I'm.
Yeah, I sent a very, very good co-host long blog that brings up and cites Der Judenstadt.
I may legitimately
and,
go over that a bit more myself, and I might do a small essay
should.
because it's super interesting.
Yeah, it's very interesting. Like the book sort of the sort of founding text of modern Zionism, or of really modern Zionism, is like an explicitly colonial and
Weirdly, we actually did a theory stream on the doctrine of fascism a little while ago. So many resonances. It's so weird.
Yes.
None of the citations that would explicitly link them, but even right up to the point where it's like you need this agonistic struggle in order for a people to flourish, and it's remarkable. It's also not a stupid text at all. It was really interesting. Like a lot of like De Maistre, like actual reactionary stuff, boring as fuck. This was really interesting. This was like Jewish Bioshock is how I described it. It was actually really fun to go through.
Yeah.
I come back, I hear about Jewish Bioshock. What have I missed out on?
Very important question. Do you think Digimon or Pokemon are more fuckable?
I don't think I've ever seen a Digimon.
What?
Digimon are easily, depending on the Digimon, but also depending on the Pokemon.
The thing is that there's one advantage that the Digimon have in this overall, because obviously there's a lot of Pokemon, and of course there are a lot of Digimon too, but there's a lot of Pokemon. But the Digimon do straight up have designs that are just like an adult magical woman with giant tits.
Yep.
So
Have you seen
Accurate.
Gardevoir?
Demon Mama comes into any conversation 15 minutes later. Yep, time to talk about monster fucking. I admire your consistency.
Listen, I have a distinct style, okay? It's like the it's like the drunken master style, okay? You never know where it's gonna fucking go. You're gonna get a hit from the left, gonna get a hit from somewhere else you don't even know. That's what it is.
Look, Pokemon, in Pokemon breeding, there is an egg group that is specifically called human-like. So there's an entire class of Pokemon that are specifically ones that look like human, and therefore would be good to
True.
fuck. So,
Yeah, see? Exactly.
How did it come to this?
We're weaving in and out of all kinds of stuff right now. I was previously, before you walked back, I had
We're talking
taken
about
a
the hit
small
game Jewish Bioshock.
yeah. Well, we were talking about, yes, exactly, which was the book Der Judenstaat.
Yeah.
What?
By it's a
Theodore Herzl.
it's like sort of the Theodore Herzl, the like
So all
kind of like the founding text of Zionism.
okay,
as we know
so
it now.
it's actually really interesting. So Theodor Herzl is I think he was German, but he was a lawyer at the University of Vienna, and he's the father of Zionism as we understand it today. And he was a utopian writer. He wrote like utopian fiction as well, but he also wrote this long political tract called Der Judenstaat, which is just on the Jewish state. And it's just a proposition with like a constitution and everything, and like appeals to colonial governments. Originally, the Sultan of the Ottoman Empire, for either Palestine or Argentina, to establish a really weird but really interesting type of hyper modern utopian ethno-state. And it goes into like weird, almost like Asimov Foundation territory, where, okay, we have this big diaspora, so we can't represent all the Jewish people clearly in a democratic sense, so we need to put together an organization that can sort of lay the groundwork and then kind of hand off the sovereignty after it's sort of conquered and established the groundwork for a state wherever. It's actually super interesting. It's nomadic fascism is the closest thing I can use to describe it.
Nomadic democratic fascism, sir.
Well,
Apparently.
well, no, it becomes democratic after the fascism.
Oh, classic.
So,
I guess that's okay. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say the piece that I sent a piece to President Sunday. Honestly, I'll just send it here. I feel like
Yeah,
everybody
please do.
here will benefit from it. This is a super interesting post that was sent to me by a friend, talking about, you know, Zion. Its title is "Zionism Isn't What People Think It Is," and it goes into a very deep history of a couple of different phrases that are used that are often conflated, and what was I going to say? One of the parts that's really interesting about this is that they talk about how, early Zionists had like a list of various places that they were like, we think that we could make the Jewish state here, and here, and like Palestine wasn't even like the highest on the list. It was one of them because they're like, oh well, this would also align with the people who have, for which there's religious relevancy, but this project isn't strictly about like reclaiming a homeland so much as it is establishing a state of a specific type.
No,
it's super interesting.
Even in Der Judenstaat, Argentina comes first. Palestine is
that's
second.
That was
yeah.
Argentina was the first
Argentina?
place that was
Wait, I gotta hear
number
this.
one.
What's the Jewish case for Argentina?
I believe it was politically expedient at the time
Let me pull it up, actually.
to attain
Let's
the
take a look.
land.
I do know that Argentina had really open immigration laws, so I wonder. I mean, that could be one reason. I just wondered if it was something like like there's a large community of Jews there, or like there's empty land, or like I don't know.
I want to see. I can't remember if this particular one.
are there immigration laws why the Nazis all went to Argentina?
Theodore Herzl recommended Argentina. It doesn't say in this piece. It doesn't say.
Here, I'm hunting
Here
it
it
down
says
right now.
he thought that Argentina was more politically practical as a location to attain land and whatnot. But I don't know the full details. You could probably look into the actual thing because I haven't read the full text. So
He also was something else too. Is that like he was deeply disingenuous, so it's difficult to say what the actual reasons were. Because here we go. Shall we choose Palestine or Argentina? Argentina is one of the most fertile countries in the world. Extends over a vast area. Has a sparse. I think that's it. Has a sparse population and a mild climate. I think the main thing is that there's not a lot of the population to displace. And one of like the most noteworthy things about Herzl is that while in his private diaries, and in other correspondences, he was either open or sort of accidentally open about, yeah, we're going to have to displace all of you in order to make this work, and we're going to have to trick you to do it because we know you don't want to. When he actually writes, you won't see any mention of Arabs or anything to do with the previous denizens of a place at all. Like there's just no mention of them. When he's talking about Palestine, there's no people there. He's talking about it like it's a desert. Guess part of it is desert, but he's talking about it's just that, yeah.
Well, so something I thought was worth mentioning is when you were describing Herzl's idea of like fascism and then democracy, it's very reminiscent, at least to me, of like the idea of the Roman dictatorship. Someone takes power absolute, necessary to like achieve something
exactly,
over the enemy, and then he hands it back off to the democracy.
Yeah.
And I wondered if there's like a long political tradition there that like only through great suffering can we build true democracy or whatever.
Well, it's interesting because Herzl was writing in the late 19th century, so he actually predates the Italian fascists by a little bit of time. But he arrived at the exact same location. And I think I kind of want to open up Marcuse now because I haven't read Reason and Revolution yet, but I wonder if anyone else has noted that sort of connection, because I do wonder, because this is something that sort of follows pretty easily from just taking a kind of Hegelian idea of like the modern state is kind of the ultimate flourishing and self-recognition of a people or whatever. Like it's very easy to just transpose ethnic group or religious group or whatever onto people and then wind up in an essentially fascist location. I do wonder if it's just something about that intellectual ferment at the time that just made fascism kind of like the center of gravity. It just had, what we call fascism. What the Italian fascists landed on was just kind of like it was just a bombastic form of it.
Classic Italian moment. They get fascism and they make it louder.
Wahoo! Yeah. Yeah. Oh my god.
Well, I don't think I have much else to add at this point, but
No
I
worries.
wanted to pop on and give my my rebuke of the scalawaggery that was that panel. Yeah, it was bad, and also say that I appreciate you all very much.
I did want to ask Demon Mama. So
Oh, sure.
you're probably to my left, and I wanted to ask. So I was asked on the panel, what's the appropriate response to Hamas's violence against Israel? And I said something to the tune of like there should be like a standard military incursion, very small in scope, like a lot of what Israel does, with like just attacking one building, not a lot of bombs being dropped. Plus, the ultimate solution has to be an end to apartheid, an end to occupation, and like only that latter bit will actually change things. The former won't change anything at all in the long run. And I guess I wanted to ask, like, that former bit always makes me a little bit upset because I don't think that there's very weak evidence that stuff like airstrikes actually reduces the number of terrorists in a given area. So
yeah, I
guess
don't think it does anything. Like, I mean, I don't know. I don't seek state power in the way that a lot of people. There's this thing that happens a lot in political spaces, which is that conversations get locked in a certain frame where whenever you're asked a question, you are basically, it's like you are suddenly put in the player's seat of a Victoria 3 campaign. And it's like, oh, well, what's the correct answer? And I am not going to be, nor am I, the prime minister of Israel. And I don't like I will never be in that position. So like asking me like what the correct answer is, to me, the correct answer is there is only one answer, and that is that you have to find any possible way forward to dismantle apartheid, because until you do that, there will be you've basically created the most fertile ground for the most violent, the most black-pilled radicalism you can possibly imagine. And like, I don't know, like, does sending in troops fix that? I don't think it does, because, and certainly blowing up a building doesn't fix that, because it doesn't even like it usually doesn't even kill anybody. They move immediately, and it just creates more terror for all the people around. You're in a dense area, even shooting a building, presuming the building is completely empty. Leveling that building is going to have rippling effects that make people go. I mean, just put yourself in the shoes of somebody who's completely politically unmotivated, and then the building next to you is blown up very loudly by somebody who says you're all fucking terrorists. Like, you're gonna go, well, they think I'm a terrorist anyway, and I almost died yesterday. So that's gonna change your calculus and your ability to even think rationally, let alone like just the fact that like, yeah, like it's gonna do a lot of damage. So I don't know, like when people say like, oh, what's the correct response? Well, I don't think there is a correct response. You're talking about two state agents, quote unquote, of various of questionable legitimacy, doing violence on each other in highly dense areas. And when I say doing violence on each other, it's they're doing violence on the area that they've laid claim to, which the people within those areas have no say in, really, besides like, I get to vote. But as we know, in the case of like Netanyahu, well, your votes didn't really matter because there's been a whole process of technicalities that even though he's been voted out by referendum, he's maintained power via a representative system, which I don't fully understand, admittedly. But, you know, like, so again, questionable legitimacy with regard to like any real claim to democratic like representation. Yeah, so I don't know. It's tough, but I mean, to me, you know, I would probably say something like that, and I'm sure people would get very mad about it because they would be like, "That's not a simple." They would start doing the little soy jack dance and going, "That's not a simple, clean answer to me."
I will say, so I know I've disagreed with you on like the anarchist rejection of answers and recipes and cookbooks and whatnot, like in the metaphorical way. But like, I just accepting that, maybe to speak a bit to your point, a stat that really blew my mind in Palestine is that an estimated 80% of the young adults are unemployed in Gaza.
Yeah.
And the strongest correlate from the studies that I've read of terrorism across countries is actually youth and, in particular, engineer unemployment.
Oh.
Well,
So-
I think the thing is just if you have a population that's hopeless, they're going to start doing things that don't necessarily seem reasonable because reasonable options just aren't there. Like what do you if you're a Palestinian in Gaza and nothing you do counts because your choice is between a violent mob and another violent mob with nukes who is making sure that the violent mob is the only government you have. What are you gonna do? You're gonna beat him at the polls? It's like you have no hope. You can just kind of keep your head down and pray that your building doesn't get bombed from under you. And if it does, then now you have like people with immense amounts of psychological trauma and resentment, and nowhere to vent it.
Yeah, the problem that I have with questions like the one that you posed and like that I would contest is that they're serious framing issues because they are asking you to take certain assumptions into account, like, oh, well, and it's fishing for a certain answer because it's saying, well, you're saying that the state of Israel, which is legitimate and has all the right to make all these decisions, really can't do anything to defend itself. That's what they're really asking. Is they're trying to get you to basically say, oh, you don't think that this state has the right to defend itself. And to me, I go, like, a state defending itself is a deranged proposition in most cases because a lot of the times it's literally exactly what we're talking about here. It's not actually, it's an incredible minority of the population making really, really impactful decisions for a large amount of people. And when we're talking about a starting point, which includes apartheid, like, I can't really get behind saying that it's justified to do like super targeted strikes or whatever. Like, I can imagine circumstances in which I would say, yeah, that probably makes sense to do that. Like, I mean, obviously, like, I don't think that like obviously I don't think that there's like never a time in which groups can fight back against something. But we're not talking about like the people who got killed in this attack aren't fighting back. Like they're not in the position to fight back against anything. Like their families aren't in a position to fight back against anything. They have a state now that has claimed, quote unquote, claimed responsibility for them, arguably failed at that responsibility in the first place by being unable to even prevent this from happening. And now is basically saying, okay, well, we must respond and defend you by blowing up a bunch of other people who had nothing to do with the attacks.
You know what a good analogy is?
Like,
you know what a good analogy is? It's like leftists who are critical of the police as an institution. It's like if you get robbed or you're actively being attacked, it's not an act of hypocrisy to then call 911 under those situations. And similarly, like in the event of an unjust state with a deprived and brutalized people or whatever, in the event that as a consequence of this situation, even if it was caused by it, which in this case it was, there is an organization that is like killing innocent people, you wouldn't say that it's inappropriate for the state to then do targeted actions to neutralize that kind of threat. It doesn't valorize the state. It doesn't like solve the problems or like put that all into the background. These are still like the principal causal issues that need to be addressed to stop this from happening into perpetuity in the future. But like under those situations, yeah, it's absolutely appropriate in terms of the logic by which the state justifies itself to engage in that kind of an action. I think the problem obviously with Gaza is that we're beyond the realm of any kind of rationality whatsoever. We're not following through even on the flawed logic of the state at this point. It's actually just a terror and revenge and pride response to a thing that it should have been on guard for if it was actually doing its job.
Yeah, I guess if oh, sorry, go ahead.
It's a really frustrating part of the framing when people like bring it like insist on bringing it back to, well, what is Israel supposed to do? Because by this point, the state of Israel has inflicted multiplicatively more terror on Gazan citizens than Hamas has on Israeli citizens. So it's really ridiculous when we're trying to get Israel to stop doing that. People just say, well, what is Israel supposed to do? Like as if they don't care about the over like 2,200 Gazans who have been killed, the million who have been displaced, the fact that it isn't going to end. Like it's like, what do we do about Hamas? Like it necessarily needs to be put on pause because the more pressing issue is Israel doing an ethnic cleansing of the region, and it's very frustrating when people refuse to acknowledge that.
I don't want to rob you of your response there, but Dame Mama, you were trying to leave, and I don't want to make you feel like you're it's late. So.
Oh, no, it's fine. Honestly, I don't know how long y'all are gonna talk, but if you're gonna talk for a while, maybe I'll just run to the bathroom and then come back and then because I don't know, this is actually fairly interesting.
I've probably got 20 minutes left in me, but I can keep going for you guys.
Sure.
Yeah. I was gonna say, like, I guess I don't know. I feel like I hope I answered your question. Like, I feel like a lot of it for me would be to challenge like the framing. At least that's the way that I would approach it. I also think that leads to a more productive conversation because I think like in truth there's another angle of it, which is even if I didn't sort of reject the framing of like talking about like putting me in the position of a state actor, I'm also not a general and neither is anybody here. So like who the fuck is a military expert who can actually judge the efficacy of any military action, let alone one of this scale? So it's like there's like multiple layers where I feel like that framing is kind of bad. And also I tend to think that question tends to come from people who would also have been 100% fine and gung-ho about the Iraq war. Because it was like, well, they did something to us and we don't really care how many chains of like, well, this person's connected to this person's connected to this person's connected to this funding network that we get to when it's like you're looking to try and get somebody for something bad happening. I don't know. Hope that makes sense.
That made a lot of sense. I was pulling up my copy of the Book of War to try and be stupid, but it spelled funny.
What do you put in there?
I think it's just the acidity in the paper. It's just foxing in an odorous way.
I guess I'm increasingly come around. Okay, very state-pilled of me, but I'm convinced that like the solution to a lot of these conflicts, unironically, has to be a UN. UN peacekeeping does seem to have a track record statistically of reducing violence, and giving the UN an insane amount of money to just give people make work jobs for like 10 years or something, to just end a conflict by like abating. I know I'm focusing on the joblessness a lot, but it seems like the hopelessness is a really big
Well,
part of it.
here's the problem. Here's the fundamental problem, though. You're looking at this as like let's just take a state actor role position.
Sure.
You're looking at this as someone who wants a sane, positive outcome for the greatest number. The Netanyahu government doesn't want that. The Netanyahu government wants people with these characteristics just gone. And so, insofar as that's the thing driving their logic, they're not going to submit to some higher body to like parcel things out to make things work out for everybody so we can all coexist together. They don't want to coexist. That's kind of explicit in their mandate.
Sure.
And also, there's another angle of this too, which is that like I don't know, and I don't know, maybe what you're saying is totally feasible, but I feel like the make work jobs might not even apply in a place like Gaza, where it's like, because so much is controlled by Israel, and there is a ton of aid going in, but like what jobs can be made in a place where the infrastructure is routinely destroyed and controlled by another nation. Like I feel like there's some of what Sunday said, in that like there's obstacles to even being able to create even like fairly frivolous jobs in a place where the playing field has been so drastically and for such a long time disrupted in a very specific direction. I don't know, it's
one of the reasons that I mentioned that, so I'm still staying on the jobs thing, is the KKK was literally founded by jobless soldiers after the Civil War. A lot of the people involved in like the Iraqi Civil War of, I think it's like 08 to 11, were people who were formerly employed in the Iraqi military. I guess I don't know what the limits on make work jobs are in like Gaza.
Yeah.
Like an open air prison is a pretty hard place to do a test run or whatever. But I do have to wonder how much of this could be resolved in like a society where we really cared about making sure no one slips through the cracks, instead of like, well, we've taken over your country now, things are swell.
What would have happened if Hitler had just been offered a make work program? You know, like
maybe that our career would have taken off.
Wait, no, that's literally
God.
actually what would have happened. In America, he would have been a paid employee of the Public Works Administration, and he would have painted murals. American Adolf Hitler made some of the best art we've ever seen.
Maybe. I guess it's just like the other thing too is like I feel like in even thinking about this, it just becomes apparent like how intentional the situation in Palestine has been, crafted, how intentionally it is. Like these Netanyahu's Likud party, like they know what the result of this is going to be. They've actively
advocated for it. They're explicit.
Advocated for it. Yeah, very explicitly on multiple occasions, like consistently over the course of like decades.
Like the
now.
disease isn't bad policy; it's ill will. That's the problem.
Yeah, yeah.
The IDF said, or some of the Israeli military said, after they turned water back onto South Gaza, that they made a statement like, "Oh no, don't worry, we're not helping out Gazans. This is still consistent with our plan to further restrict access to resources in a Hamas governed territory." Like it's very clear that like even with the U.S. applying pressure, like they're just stretching out the time scale for genocide. They're still trying to do it. Like they still want to do a ground invasion and flush out all of Gaza.
Yeah, which makes me just go. I mean, I feel like it's abundantly clear, like which actor in this situation has has created this situation. And I don't know. I feel like nothing short of just acknowledging that fact and acting on it and acting to disempower the people trying to do that is going to have any success, because it's just like, I don't know, like even with UN aid, the ability for Israel to ruin life on a consistent basis and guarantee that their opponent is always going to be the most easily demonizable, like I said, the most black-pilled organization you can imagine, that's a hard, that seems like a very difficult like thing to even solve with jobs. But I do think that, like, I think it's a good, like, it's definitely a more peaceful answer than what 90% of everyone else is talking about, and I think it's more productive. So, like, I don't know. I don't have any. Again, I don't really have any say in the UN, but
Maybe,
I'd love to
maybe
hear.
we can
I'd
have
love
a maybe we can have a Make Works program for Likud and Benjamin Netanyahu so that they stop inflicting a terror campaign on Gaza.
Look, I simply suggest turning The Hague into a open air prison and sending all of the Likud leadership over there. Okay?
Yeah, exactly.
And they can have some make work jobs in the pleasant, rehabilitation focused anarchist prison. Okay?
Yeah, that'd be great. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Yeah. So I mean, I think that's certainly. And also, one thing I will say is that, like, you know, I already said this, but I'll expand on it, which is that I do think it's a better answer than 99% of people engaging in this conversation are willing to say. That gets people to think more about, like, okay, what's actually going on here that's making this situation so difficult and so intractable. And most people are just like, oh,
they hate our way of life.
Yeah, I mean, that is literally the answer that a lot of people come to. Is like, oh, well, Hamas is just an unaccountable evil that just comes out of nowhere. They just pop up, like, like there's no forces that impact it or that have allowed Hamas to be in a position of any power or influence. It's so frustrating. And yeah, so.
I apologize, by the way, Demon Mama. We are so late on that game review, and that's my fault.
Oh, it's fine. It's whatever.
Game review?
It didn't. Oh yeah, we have a side podcast, Left Trigger.
Oh, cool. Y'all are working. Is that Xanderhall too, or am I misremembering?
Zenzi.
No, Zenzi. Yeah. I'm working on a very slow. We're supposed to be aiming to get a first episode out sometime later this year, but that's a podcast I'm working on with Xanderhall. That's just me and Zan. But no, me and Zanzi and President Sunday have been doing. We've done, like, we're about to record our third episode. We talk about different video games. We did BioShock, Stray, and now we're doing Signalis.
And then we're doing Pathologic 2.
Pathologic 2, which I am unbelievably psyched for, and that is going to be, I guarantee you, that will be our most political episode yet.
Are you putting politics back in the games of Pathologic 2, an apolitical game?
Oh yeah, the most apolitical. It's yeah.
Just a doctor with a mission.
He's just a small town doctor with a heart of gold. No politics here. Nothing at all. No commentary on indigenous issues. No commentary on colonization. No commentary on the military. No commentary on imperialism. None of that. Just no philosophy. It's nice and clean. You just cut people open and take their organs if you need it, and there you go.
As a utilitarian, I find this pretty apolitical.
It's basically Tetris.
It's this, like, okay, I sent Demon Mama this video titled Joseph Anderson is Apolitical, and it's just this very insane game, which is not apolitical, but its description is literally just the word apolitical. Anyway, you might like it.
Wow, all right, I'll have to check this out. This looks interesting. You know, it's funny, I've never seen, this is a total distraction, but I've never seen anything of Joseph Anderson until very recently, and only through the vein of people criticizing Joseph Anderson.
Really?
Which
There are
is
people
weird,
who
right?
dislike Mr. Anderson, the good lord?
Yes, well, listen, I found the critique video to be very compelling, I will say.
Oh my
But
goodness.
it was a video called Joseph Anderson is a Scrub. And it was talking about him having nonsensical critiques and also outright lying about certain aspects of Dark Souls 3 and Elden Ring specifically. He got mega busted. He got busted on the lies. It was pretty
Uh-oh.
bad. I will say it was pretty embarrassing. Again, I have no context, but I was just like, "Ooh, bro, you got caught. You got fucking caught big time." He made up this mechanic that he insisted was in the game, and he had like proof for it, and it was like, it's called animation munching, and it's happening here, and it makes this fight really unfair and frustrating and all this shit. And then like the guy just went in and demolished the argument that animation munching was happening at all. It was just like, here's Joseph Anderson's footage. Now let me show you exactly where this footage was like completely dishonest, and in fact represents, he claims this is the same move, but it's very visibly not the same move, and I can show you with my own footage. And he does like 8 different follow-ups of side-by-side footage going nope, 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 nope. I was like, oh shit, dude, you got fucking caught. So that's all I know.
Joseph Anderson, more like Joseph Slanderson. Am I right?
Yeah, he's slandering the Souls series, the good name of the Souls series. But no, I don't know. I've heard lots of good things like through the pipeline about Joseph
You're
Anderson,
Mr. Vosh,
but
you mean? The pipeline is all Mr. Vosh.
It is actually mostly who I've heard good things about from. I mean, Vosh brings him up a lot, I will say.
It's like once a stream. I'm glad. Vosh clearly just needs like a 4-hour video he can settle down with.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know anything about the guy except for that he lied about Dark Souls. So,
It's a pretty big.
and that he's allegedly a scrub. I will say the video was fantastic. Even independent of the Joseph Anderson critique, the actual video, what they were talking about in the video, was super, super interesting, and one of the most like competent Dark Souls fight analysis videos I've ever seen, where I was like, wow, I actually learned so much from this that is like out of my knowledge base, even as a really avid player of the Souls series. Anyway.
Noah Caldwell Gervais.
okay.
He's the best.
Oh, I don't know him either. I've never seen
What?
anything by him.
Oh my god, I need to send you. Hey, SDL, you've seen. Do I call you Aiden or SDL now? Now it's just weird.
Either, I don't care.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyways, Noah Caldwell Gervais. Are you familiar?
I heard the name, but I don't remember 1 minute.
Oh, he's the best. He does like these massive, ridiculous, like franchise long reviews.
Oh my good
Oh,
god.
that sounds good.
Oh,
His most recent
they're really
video
good.
is 9-hour, 25-minute.
Oh, so we got some like Quentin reviews.
Oh, these are essays too. These are
You
structured
wake up-
essays.
You turn on Noah Caldwell Gervais. You go to sleep.
Unironically, and he will still be going on the same video when you wake up. Yeah, so his latest is a thorough look at Fallout, revised and expanded, and boy is it, because it's 9.5 hours long. He has a really cool series, which is the real life. You'd actually probably enjoy this, Team Mama. The real life landscapes of Fallout 3, Fallout 4, and Fallout 76, where he's literally just driving to the places where this takes place.
That sounds amazing.
I know
that one of them
awesome.
is going to be up in my neck of the woods. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
His
Fallout 3 on the Pacific Northwest?
no, but one of the expansions for Fallout 4 takes place in my home state, in a city that I was just
okay.
in a little bit ago, Far Harbor, which is literally like directly based on Bar Harbor, Maine.
Demon Mom, if you took a
And,
GoPro, that would actually be a fantastic
I
video.
should have, but yeah, maybe next time. I was a little preoccupied driving across the entire United States, which was a super cool experience, by the way. Anyway, I have to roll now, but thank you all for having me, and also for being cool. It was a nice conversation, and I'll probably talk to you all in the future soon. Anyway, good night.
Have a good
Night,
night.
Miss Mama.
Later.
Now that she's finally gone, we can finally talk about DSA.
Oh god.
It seemed like you were.
Spoil
you said
me.
You were getting tired. It sounded like you were getting tired yourself.
I got like 15 more minutes in me.
Well, you got 15 minutes, Miss Roxy. Has the wine gotten to you yet?
I'm sober at this point. I drank like a whole bottle of wine tonight, and like
A
it's
whole
I'm kind of
bottle?
sober now. Well, it was like 75% of a bottle.
Dog.
Like 8% alcohol by volume. It's fine.
What kind of wine are you getting? It's only 8%. That's a weak ass wine.
$3 Trader Joe's wine that tastes like watermelon.
That doesn't sound so bad.
It's pretty good. I liked it a lot. I did it again.
You know, one of the you know the term champagne socialism?
I do.
Yeah.
One of the
Okay.
origins of that term is that the Soviet Union mass-produced cheap champagne to provide it as a luxury to the masses. So they took champagne socialism, they gave it to everyone. So
Well, hang on,
what
just
you're telling,
wait. So just to be clear, so champagne socialists are starving members of the working class.
yes, I'm a champagne socialist, and I can't afford rent.
Does it mean that I can call myself a champagne socialist because I only drink the cheapest alcohol because I'm very poor.
Uh, okay, I blame you. Stop drinking so much alcohol. I'm blaming you. This is
amount. I
latte
drink less than the
socialist.
median 21-year-old.
Okay, that's a bad standard to go though.
There is so
I'm
much.
21, why-
There is so much fantastic craft beer here. I actually can't drink on the cheap. And what's nice about beer is that at the best of it, it's not that expensive. It stays pretty low.
SCL, it's a shame that you're moving out of Austin because Austin had some pretty good craft beer every time that I visited.
I'm just not a fan of beer. The only alcohol that I ever got behind is like sweetened alcohol that I don't notice. It's really, I don't know. It's annoying.
You know, like cocktails.
I don't know.
'Cause I make my cocktails pretty sweet, so.
I just realized I was surrounded by dweebs. Ugh.
Surrounded by dweebs. Oh,
Dweebs.
we're gonna get like the. I can't actually tell what the bottles are. Whiskey or something behind you?
Your girly drinks. Oh God. Okay, I finished it, and then I didn't throw it out. I didn't put it here for display. It's just if I'm taking a bottle and I'm putting it away, it's like, oh, that's convenient, and then I just leave it. This is whiskey, by the way.
This
But,
is like. This is like the worst version of a family display case. You just have all the bottles you haven't taken out as if they were your fine china.
Exactly. Exactly. That's garbage. I literally just put that there and forgot about it. And then replaced it after a while. I'm not showing off the fact that, ooh, look, I'm so sophisticated. I've got my $15 bottle of Crown Royal whiskey. They're really nice bottles, though, actually. But, yeah, no. No.
For my 21st birthday, a friend of mine gave me $55 to get like a liter bottle of like it was like Red Eagle or Red Eye Barrel whiskey or something. And then I never ended up taking him up on that because they've been out of stock on it. But I've been wanting to get around to it because I want to get into like whiskey and like the more like refined harder alcohol.
Sophisticated, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Honest?
Sorry, go ahead.
No, after you.
No. After you.
I'm the Canadian. What the fuck is going on here?
Still, you're a doormat.
The thing about whiskey is it doesn't actually get better the more expensive it is. It just gets smoother. It stays tasting more or less the same, with like some variation, but typically you're still looking at it's a sugary caramelly thing, and it's like pleasant. I mean, depending on what it is, like smoked whiskeys can just be absolutely vile. But that's more or less what you're dealing with. I've had some like ones that are really weird that are really good. There was this one. It was made by some lady who was a chemist, but she made one that was like a peanut butter whiskey, and it was so bizarre because when you drank it, it was really good, but you actually had like, how when you have like sort of like processed craft peanut butter, it has like a grain to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it had that. It was a liquid, and it had that, like almost a faint sandiness to it. It was so weird.
Was it was it like some like some like aromatic or whatever that like gave it like the Like the flavor of peanut butter.
I have no the flavor and the feel of peanut butter. I have no idea, and it was eerie. It was like drinking a Reese cup that somehow
Have you seen
retained
this,
its
like,
essence.
there's this video of some like Canadian chemists like making like really aged like whiskey in like 15 minutes by like putting like a bunch of like wood chips into whiskey and then
Hmm.
putting it in like a sonicator to
Mm.
simulate like the aging of it, and then like, he did like taste tests on it, and he couldn't tell the difference between like 55 age like barrel aged whiskey and like the sonicator version.
Look, that's completely based, and in the Socialist People's Republic, okay, everything will be fake aged. Everything will be like that, okay? The people's fake aged bourbon will be free for everyone, okay? I love that shit. That shit rocks. Oh my god. Imagine waiting for time. I think people are better than that, okay? Okay. The reason, okay, I'm on a kick lately. I was
All right.
reading a bit. Okay, I played a game called Half Earth Socialism, and one of its factions is the accelerationists. So they're real big on you got to build more factories, you got to advance the material conditions of the working class. And I'm like, I think I'm actually on board with that. And I'm vibing with the idea of, oh, waiting for nature, waiting for time, doing things as humans used to do, traditions. No, they gotta go. Okay, humans gotta change ourselves, gotta change the world, be fully mastery of nature. Okay, I'm loving that. That sounds great. We are the new Prometheans. I'm completely on the half Earth socialism accelerationist train, and you fully agree, right, Roxy?
Sure, I'll agree to that.
This is I'm looking at this right now. This is so weird. It looks
Uh,
almost like
the
a it's
the
like Cruelty Squad as a strategy game, but also a card game.
I actually don't like it. It's too easy to win.
Oh, well, thank you for making me download that just as we're speaking. That's great. Um, I want to sleep.
Okay, let's end it. Thank you
It's
for
been
coming
a
on, Roxy.
Yeah, thank you.
Um,
Pleasure to meet you.
There's a
Roxy,
big
why don't
meet
you
because
shout out the DSA?
oh yeah, I'll shout out the DSA. I'm not gonna shout out my personal chapter because I don't want to be associated.
Okay,
I don't want
but
my Twitter
before you go,
presence
do
to
you
be associated.
condemn Hamas?
I do indeed condemn Hamas.
Coward.
I also condemn the terrorist state of Israel for their campaign on Gaza citizens.
Now you have to shout out DSA so this poor man can get some sleep. Please go.
All right, DSA is great. You should join DSA. A lot of us are putting up pretty good statements. I won't shout out mine because I don't want to self-dox. But actually, it's really funny because conservatives in my area are like doxing pro-Palestine like members of campus organizations. So I've had to like be very careful not to like associate my personal Twitter account with like my DSA chapter.
Oh, that shit's so vile.
It's times like these I'm really grateful that I started like putting my full face on display on my stream.
Thanks for having me on for the cope stream where we coped about getting owned by the panel. Again, I would.
dominated you so hard.
So
Well,
true.
you didn't cope. I'm the only one who fled just because I was so intimidated by all of that sweet money my chat was giving me.
You gave yourself $100 to dip into a theory stream.
That's probably my favorite dig that I've got on somebody so far is I was able to look in the camera and say, "Hey Wick, if you're watching, just so you know, I got paid more than you made in your entire stream just to turn yours off." This felt good.
Thank you for having me on.
Anytime.
I will shout out something as well. Anyone who's interested in helping Palestinian children do better while under constant bombardment and a total blockade and a severe lack of water should look up. You found it up? Go ahead.
Actually, I'm glad you brought that up because I was talking with Demon Mama the other day and I forgot, but you would probably be knowledgeable about this. I think you're demonstrating that right now. We were thinking of doing something for that as like just a stream event because every so often we do that, so it'd be kind of cool to have like we'll just do a long stream of some kind. I don't know what it'll be, gaming stream or whatever, maybe just an extended signal night or
I think
something.
Demon Mama has done like call-in streams as well. It's another way to get a lot of attention.
Yeah.
To it is
I think that'd be a cool thing to do. We can get a couple of other streamers on, and yeah, it'd be and it can be pleasant as opposed to the shit show we just did tonight. So
Well, I hope that event, just as well as I'm doing now, will shout out the Palestinian Children's Relief Fund, or PCRF. That's the Palestinian Children's Relief Fund. And all the money sent to them goes directly to children in Gaza, who are in some of the worst conditions of any people on Earth right now, given that 1 million people, of which 500,000 are children, have been displaced by Israeli bombs and Israeli law. So, really fucked. Here's hoping they do okay. And
Yeah. Can
send them a
you
little money.
can you link me that? I'll put that in the description. And
Yeah.
Oh, hang on. Do Layla's because she gets like data about it if you look, here, I'll look for the link.
PCRF. I think I got it.
Yeah,
Yep, there we
you
go.
You got it off Layla's?
Linked it and linked it. All right, LinkedIn chat. Thank you so much for having me on
Sweet.
Sunday.
Yeah.
Sorry for taking up your evening.
no, not at all. Feel free anytime. Have a good night. Take care.
Bye.
Bye. And you too, Roxy. All right. So, whoa, what's this? There we go. That's better. Where am I sending you all? Is anybody even still alive? Let's see. So now I go to redirect. I think Aiko's on. Unless she's ended stream early. Wow, that's unusual for her. She's ended stream before like the 7-hour mark. You know what? Go say hi to Stardust for me. Arrivederci.